Hi, namaste. Thank you for watching. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about an issue that I have seen across the board in the clients that I have worked with and the people that are near and dear to me in my life and my own life. I am Jessica Graham Robinson of SacredSpaceHealingArts.com, and it's become so evident to me that we have a real problem in our culture. And the problem is that we are not living as self healers. Our bodies have wisdom, they have intelligence, they heal themselves in when we allow ourselves to be in that space, in that mode, right? And it's a natural way of being. So I'm going to tell you why I said that. One is, look at nature. It always corrects itself. It always self-corrects. Like, things change. If you look at trees, they're not all perfect and straight, right? Something happens, all of a sudden one veers off and one comes back in the other direction, or it grows a new limb. We know all of this cool stuff about how trees communicate with one another underneath through their root systems and through things that we can't even see with our eyes. Our bodies are the same. We are nature. And by nature, we are self-healers. And the reason that we're not healing ourselves is that all of us are walking around in a stress response 90% of the time. I made up that statistic, granted, but how often in your day do you find that your shoulders are lifted, your voice is either raising or higher, or your jaw is tense, or you're having a feeling of, I don't have enough time, or, I like just that you have to push through, that you're having to push all of the time instead of just flowing, right? So think of the opposite of that. If you could imagine a wild animal, when we often see documentaries of animals in the wild in Africa, you see that the big cats are often just lounging around, and they do it so easily. They're not sitting there thinking like, oh no, I'm avoiding doing my taxes, or there's not enough time, or how am I going to pick up my cub from, that all these things aren't going on. They're seriously just resting, and they're doing it beautifully. And they naturally are able to turn back and forth, to switch back and forth between the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest, digest, repair, feel good, juicy, and the sympathetic nervous system, also called fight or flight. And that's when literally you're fighting or running or hiding, right? And we might not be doing that in our modern lives, but we are internally. That same stress response is going off. And instead of some large animal chasing us through the forest, we are doing that about small details in our everyday lives. Every day, and oftentimes large quantities of the day. And because of that, we have turned off our ability to heal. We've left our bodies, and we're all up in our minds, right? Up in the mental processes. And so what I want to share with you today is about the importance of getting back into the parasympathetic nervous system, getting to a place where we can turn that off, because all of those cortisol, adrenaline, not only does it help us to perform, but over long periods of time, it's damaging to our bodies and damaging to our minds. It's very damaging in general, because when you're in that mode, you've absolutely turned off all repair responses in your body, all of it. And so everything is triggering a response. Like everything is a stimulus to trigger a response in your body at that point. Whereas when you're in parasympathetic nervous system, you can rest. You feel safe. You feel grounded. You aren't thinking about survival, whether that's actual or figurative, right? Like the survival of your job or your life circumstance or whatever. So what we want to do is we want to find out, how can we anchor ourselves in the present? And there's so many different practices you can do that will help. I'm going to show you one really simple one, and it's just this. And you can practice this right now with me. You can also practice it. You can set a certain time to practice it. You can also just practice it in the moment when you notice. So you might first just see, where am I noticing that I'm in that I'm like, that my heart rate is up, that my jaw is clenched, however those being in that stress response, however that shows up for you in your body. Like, when do you notice it? And maybe you're doing it and you're not noticing it at all. And so then when something happens that's a little aggravating, you explode, or you have a much bigger reaction that you could have avoided and you're not super proud of because you were already in that mode. So how to get back into parasympathetic, where we can heal ourselves. And it's just so simple. So if you take a hand, you could be standing in the earth. If you're standing, feet about hip distance apart, knees soft so they're not locked, feet just really absorbed in the floor. If you're sitting, pull the flesh out from underneath your sitting bones and really feel the bones in the chair or on the floor that you're sitting on. If you're lying down, you have multiple points. Just get comfortable. Let your body spread out, and you have multiple points that you're grounding into the earth. And so now take a hand or both hands and place them on somewhere on the trunk of your body. So one place might be your heart, another place is the solar plexus, another place is the second chakra, low belly, hips, like the bones of your pelvis, your pubic bone, your sacrum. These are all just different options of places to hold yourself, to anchor you. So I'm going to choose to put my hands on my pelvis and feel the bones. You choose whatever you choose. And now your eyes can be open or closed. You're just going to feel the bones and breathe with awareness. And it doesn't matter how you're breathing, just that you are. So you're just breathing. So simple. You're touching your body. You're feeling the bones. And then you're soft enough all over that you're also allowing for shifting to occur, if it does. And it doesn't have to. Literally just feeling the breath in your body, feeling your hands on your body, feeling the bones in your body that you're touching, whether that's your pelvis or your heart, the sternum under the heart. Soften your jaw, your face. If you're looking at something, then allow your eyeballs to soften so that you're not straining, you're not pulling your eyes forward to see, but instead you're letting them rest into the back of the head. And then just notice as you're having this experience, what are you feeling? Does an emotion come up for you to be acknowledged this way fully? Or different sensations in your body? Notice anything and everything. And there is no right, no wrong. There's just you noticing and trusting, if you will, the intelligence of your body. And so if you are making tiny shifts, trust that there's a reason. And just keep breathing and noticing. So this is a practice that could go on for quite a long time, or it could be a practice that takes 1 minute. For the sake of keeping this video short, I'm going to go ahead and begin to close, but feel free to stay in this space and either listen or pause or let it end and keep staying in this experience if you want to. But basically, what it boils down to is that in order for us to be healthy, truly healthy individuals, we have to recognize that we are human beings, not human doings. And that doing things is part of what we do. But when we do to the extent that we lose touch with our vessel, this body, and we lose the ability to heal ourselves, then maybe that's something we want to look at. Maybe we want to make some changes there. Maybe we want to shift. And so what I'm suggesting right now, and if you're still in this, just start to be aware of the room around you and slowly shift your awareness back to not just your touching spot, you're anchoring into the present, but the room around you, your environment. What we want to start to do is kind of be aware of how much are you in the stress response. And if you start to pay attention and you find out that most of the day you're there, then you want to do more of these. Like you can work it throughout your day. Just when you notice your heart rate is up or your breath is fast or whatever is happening, just remind yourself you're not being chased. And that regardless of what feels stressful in your life right now, you have more control than you think about how you want to allow it. And so, for instance, if something happened at work, it might have long-term effects, but we don't want to like multiply that. We don't want to magnify those effects by hanging on to it and dwelling in the future about what could happen. But instead, we want to keep finding ways that we can anchor ourselves right here in the present, in the truth, and live there. And then see, like truthfully, what is true? What is true? When I come back to the present, when I get back in my body, when I allow for that clarity to happen, now what is true? It's a very different place than being in that reactionary stress response. So I'm going to go ahead and close. I thank you again for watching. Please check out my website, sacredspacehealingarts.com. Please click subscribe if you like what you heard today and want to hear more. And feel free to comment and let me know if this is working for you. You can also, if you check out my website or if you click around, you'll find that there is a way to schedule a free wellness discovery session with me. And it's basically a free coaching call and can be very insightful for you. And I'm offering that for free. So click the link and schedule yours. Talk to you soon. Namaste.